Our awardee, Dr. Paroda, has kindly agreed to stay on for a few minutes. Is Babu Krishnamurthy?
Yeah.
So we can open the floor to a few questions.
Can we just please wait for a minute, please? Can you just please hold on? Yeah, right. Now, Babu, you could take over, please. And
Suresh, just a quick question. How would you want to? Do you want the people to type in the question, or do I? Because
the messages are right now disabled. People could raise their hands, and you could see it in the participant list and unmute them one by one, and that would allow them to ask a question.
Done. Yeah, please, absolutely.
Right.
So thank you, Parodaji, for staying back, and we want to raise a few questions that some of our members and people of press may want. So I request you to please stay on for a few more minutes while we raise some of those questions. Friends, I'm trying to see who's raising their hand. Yeah, Swami, I'm going to come right to you. How do I unmute Swami? Can I have Rotarian Swaminathan unmuted, please? Yeah, Swami, go ahead with your question, please.
Sir, congratulations to you, sir, for this award. It's an honor to talk to you. And how do you see this year with a good rain, with a good rain across the country, with enough food grains available? How do you see the management of the COVID problems at the last level? What I mean is, are we sufficiently ready to meet the extension of this free rice, free wheat scheme with free rations? Are we prepared enough for the next 1 year? That's my question to you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. It's a very relevant question in present context. We all are aware that under the COVID-19 pandemic threat, we have to make sure that we have our food systems protect us for a longer period. And in this context, I would only like to tell you that recently, few eminent people around the globe, including Dr. Swaminathan and many from India and World Food Awardee Nobel laureates, had given a call to the UN and also to G20 regarding COVID-19 and threat to agriculture and food and nutrition security. In that context, it is very clear that in future, many developing countries will face problems who are not able to produce for themselves because there may be difficulties about the food to be shipped to the different parts of the world. Fortunately, India, maybe now we can say that we had better policies, though we were criticized at many times. Why do we have food stock of more than 50 million tons, which is not otherwise economically sustainable? But today I can tell you that 15 to 25 million tons are required per year for our food security. So for next 2 years, even if the food production is retained at the level which we are producing today, India is better placed than many other countries.
Excellent, sir. Thank you.
At one
Wow.
time, we
That's
were
that,
shipped to Maus as far as food security was concerned. So I do see that the situation is much better, but what is required is that we have, and our dependence on food, which is mainly around few crops, particularly wheat and rice. And there are many local foods which are also equally important and can lead to immunity and also better nutritional security. So that is the aspect which is required to be addressed now in the present context.
That's nice of you. Thank you very much, sir.
thank you, Paroda ji. Can Ashish Khandelwal has raised a hand, so can he be unmuted? Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations to you, sir, for taking this award. Sir, I want to ask or I want to put your comment, interlinking of river across the state, whether it could be whether it could be a strategy for proper management of water in different state during this current situation. Can you put some light, sir, on this?
Could you please repeat your question?
Sir, interlinking of rivers across the state could be a proper solution.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. In fact, major initiatives that were there. One was on the national highways linking different states and cities and villages through roads. And the second was about linking rivers for better security in future with regard to water requirement. In that context, it was later discussed and debated. I was also at that time in ICR, and Vajpayee ji had also had charge of agriculture minister for quite some time. It was felt that probably that is very ideal objective, but would require a lot of investment, and for major irrigation system and also micro irrigation systems, it has been realized that possibly we have not been able to make it more efficient and useful to improve water use efficiency. So what actually then was felt and is relevant in today's context is that we must go for on-farm water conservation, which is much more desirable and which would require community involvement. And I come from Rajasthan, like simple bunding of fields alone can help in having more than 80% of water conservation. But many fields are not bunded. And when you go to Orissa, Bihar, and West Bengal, lot of water is then
Okay, I'm
wasted.
unmuted. Bugs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Can you please introduce yourself, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm
let's
Deepa
start.
here from the Hindu newspaper, sir, in Chennai. I've been listening. Congratulations, first, doctor.
Thank you.
And good evening to Murugavel, sir. Sir, this question is to you. You spoke about increasing the need to increase immunity among the population, sir. So, can you elaborate on that, sir?
Well, as you are all aware, that still our growth rate as far as demography is concerned, we have almost 16 to 17 million people added every year, which means one Australia, 1 year, every year we are adding.
Okay.
Despite all the increase that we are otherwise having in the field of food production, horticulture production, milk production, even fish production, whatever increases you are making, to a greater extent, this gets nullified because of increasing population. So something will have to be thought of about which we hardly discuss or talk about. And in that respect, it was also debated at national level several times, including by agriculture scientists. And what we noticed and found was the best way is to educate women and empower women in agriculture, not only to increase agriculture production by almost 30%, as has been reflected by studies of FAO and World Bank, but it also helps in household nutrition security and better care of children. And also they would go in for not having bigger size in the family.
Okay. So this population is an issue that nobody talks about, as you said. Even for pollution, we only point our fingers to vehicles, but we don't point to population. But we are not China, doctor.
In fact, all said and done, we have to realize that how much we will continue producing from a limited area. For last
question,
4 years, our agricultural land for cultivation is not expanding. It is static around 140 million hectares. And on the other side, since we became independent, now population is more than 4.5 times. Fortunately, we could produce food grains which are more than 5.5 times now. And also horticulture production has exceeded for the first time the food grain production, which is around 298 million tons. The horticulture production has surpassed for last 5 years, which is more than 320 million tons. So
Okay.
you can continue, but then you have to pay a price. Now we are talking about sustainable agricultural production. Dr. Swaminathan gave a call for evergreen revolution after the green revolution we had witnessed in this country, about which whole world is baffled and talk about. So for evergreen revolution, you will have to think of those approaches by which farmers can produce more by economizing on their inputs, because inputs are costly, and also take care of their soil health, which is getting affected. At organic matter content in belt like Haryana, Punjab and Western UP is less than 0.3%. How can it be sustainable, and for how long? Similarly, water table is going down. We have to therefore think of stopping flood irrigation and going in for micro irrigation. We have to think of recycling organic matter back in the soil so that organic matter content increases. So there are issues, there are challenges, there are second generation problems of green revolution, and I'm sure the new technologies and approaches that are available today and innovation in agriculture will take care of all this.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Paroda ji. Thank you so much.
Babu?
Friends, we are,
In the interest of time,
Yes,
take 1 or 2 more questions and then wrap the meeting.
Yes, President, I will do that. We have just, as the President mentioned, we have just time for 1 or 2 more quick questions. Dr. Paroda ji, I will take the privilege of 1 question. You had mentioned during your last answer that our land for production is not increasing. It's about that same 140 million hectares of the quantum, whereas population is growing. One Australia, in the size of matter. is there, are we doing enough in terms of increasing productivity more? And we hear a lot of talk about countries like Israel, which are able to bring even desert kind of arid land into, productive cropping areas. So are we kind of doing work in that space? And if we are doing, I'd be excited to know some details about that.
Yeah, I think a very important question you have raised. We know that in India, still more than 55% area is rain-fed. Despite all good efforts that we made, the highest dam, longest canal, and improvement in irrigation system, emphasis on micro irrigation, we have been able to come to a level of about 70 million hectare of irrigated potential. What is needed, therefore, is that we go in for conservation agriculture. There are now innovations, whether it is conservation agriculture, whether it is vertical agriculture. We can increase productivity, and as you said, there are many states still who are below the national average for the important crops that we are growing in the country. Whether it is wheat or whether it is rice, there are few states which are having very high productivity, comparable to anywhere best in the world, and others where we don't have the infrastructure yet created to that level, or we have not gone in for adopting those technologies. Like, why should we cultivate land in the rain-fed areas when conservation agriculture has shown to the rest of the world, whether Brazil, Argentina, US, Canada, Australia, even Turkey, conservation agriculture means it is no-till agriculture. But you would require that technology to be promoted. And that's where, if increasing the productivity, then why not, wherever we are growing hybrid crops, why not increase area under hybrids? When production can further be doubled or even increase higher than that. So you need right policies. You need involvement of private sector. Why not micro irrigation? Why not stop flooding when you have irrigation? Why we continue allowing the people to irrigate more through tube wells when there are already canals in the region, like in Punjab? But people want more assured system of their own. So they are having tube wells, they are irrigating their fields, they want only rice crop. Why do we want to have all the time rice if it is not sustainable in some of those environments and conditions? So there are issues which will require now a rethinking, a diversification of agriculture, like Haryana now talking, and even its government is giving incentive to farmers if they switch over from rice crop to maize. But then if farmers grow maize, then there must be linkage with industry, there must be procurement, or there must be price to the farmer, which otherwise is a concern. So what we need is to increase, and let me just briefly mention that if our productivity levels are currently low, that means we have all the potential, because technological innovations are available which can increase it further. So there is that technology gap which has to be bridged. And for that, what we require is, recently I have submitted a report to the Government of India on enabling policies for sustainable agriculture. It is available on the website of Principal Scientific Advisor, and also on that of my trust, and anybody is interested. And that's where we have said that you need new innovation to be scaled by involving youth, and you need to have policies by which we can incentivize the farmer, not to give subsidy, but give farmer incentives, so that they increase and have better resilience in agriculture. Why we give only the subsidy on nitrogen fertilizers? If farmer is using and wanting and having need for micronutrient, or he wants to have potash applied, then he doesn't get qualified. But if he tests the soil and applies potash, which is required in his situation, then he should be given incentive, and that subsidy should be transferred as incentive to the farmer rather than we link those. Similarly, recently government has accepted our recommendations of, getting away with Essential Commodity Act and also going in for APMC Act to be revised or to be done away with. So there are options and there are opportunities, and private sector has to be embraced. Now, many things which private sector can do efficiently, we need to provide them enabling environment for the same. There is great potential for increasing the production, and Eastern India can give us many more green revolutions in future. But there is no infrastructure of the kind that we created in Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP. So there are issues.
But on that positive note, Dr. Paroda, that there is still a lot of potential in India to grow even more productive so that our future generation can live a very comfortable life. Friends, we are completely out of time. Thank you so much, Paroda ji, for sparing time after the award. We're almost an hour and a half after the award, and I know you came in much before the event. So over to the president. Selvan, if you have a few words, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Paroda, for all those informative answers. I think the question answer session was very useful and very enlightening to a lot of us on this topic. So thank you for your time. This meeting of the Rotary Club.
Thank you, Selvan Saab, and thank you to all your colleagues and Rotarians for giving me this honor and opportunity. It is a unique event for me and my family. And I have been a student of Dr. Swaminathan right from the time I started my PhD research at Indian Agriculture Research Institute. But now with this award, you have linked me permanently for whatever I had been aspiring. And therefore, it has been a dream come true. Thank you for this opportunity. And I wish Rotary Club all the success and continue these kinds of initiatives. And I see that this is not your recognition of myself, but I have been talking about recognizing the farmers for their environmental services. You have recognized me for environmental protection. I would urge that in future, government has in place the initiatives for environmental services, for compensating farmers to do and adopt good agronomic practices to save natural resources more effectively and efficiently.
Thank you. Thank you for those words, sir. This meeting of the Rotary Club of Madras is now adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paroda ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.